Hello, today I brought for you a wonderful lecture. It's an essay, Happy People. It's written by William Rolfe Inge, a British writer. And before going to learn about happy people, let me share with you a story of a king. Once upon a time, there lived a king in a kingdom. He has everything. He has wealth, he has power, and he has lands and luxury, everything. But he had a feeling with him that is sadness. That sadness turned as sick to him, that he is sad. It is a feeling, just a feeling in him. So immediately he called his minister and made an announcement in his kingdom that the doctor who is going to cure his illness will be rewarded with a great prize. With that, many of the doctors from the far off the places visited the doctor, but unfortunately, none of the doctors cured the illness of the king. And the king was vexed and shouted that his pity that but at that moment, exactly not looking like a doctor, a person visited him and given assurance to the king that, my lord, I'll cure your illness. The king laughed and said, and several doctors, world famous doctors, visited me, but unfortunately they are unable to cure my illness. You're looking like not even a doctor. How you're going to cure my illness? The king said. Immediately the person said, give me an opportunity, a chance for me. Let me try to cure your illness. The king allowed the new person who came to him. So immediately the person who visited the king said, my lord, there is a remedy. There is no particular treatment for your illness, but if you follow my instruction, you will be getting happiness again. Your happiness will be regained. You're getting your happiness again. The person said. Then the king immediately asked, tell me what I can do for it. The person said, nothing, my lord. Just you wear the shirt of a person who is always happy in this world. That the person said. For that, the king laughed and said, my kingdom is such a huge and bigger kingdom. I can find millions of people who are happy all the time. So immediately the king ordered to get him a shirt from the happiest person in his kingdom. The courts of the king and ministers and every courtier of the king started searching all over the kingdom, vexed. Unfortunately, they are unable to find a happy person in the kingdom. A troop of soldiers were vexed and sat under a tree. And then they heard a song of a person who is with contentment, who is in happiness. Immediately the soldiers, the guards of the king rushed to the person and asked, are you the happiest person? They asked. That person said, yes, I'm the happiest person, he said. Then you need to come with us because we have a favor from you to our king. Then I'll come with you, sure, he said. And that person was taken to the king. So the king has seen the person and asked, are you the happiest person because you are brought by our soldier? The person said, yes, I am. Who are you? He said, I'm the beggar, he said. Then I own you a shirt. The beggar laughed and said, my lord, I never had a shirt in my lifetime. See, the king gone furious and he has thrown out his armchair and shouted, as my kingdom has the people without shirts, then what is the use of me? Then as a king I need to help each and every person in the country, but because of my negligence my people are turning poor. The king thought and got out of that armchair, and then he said bid to his to his, what do we call that, idealness. So from then onwards, then onwards, he started moving all over the kingdom and tried to help all the people in his kingdom. And here, the present, this chapter is dealing with semester 1, Usmania University. Lesson 1 of English, Happy People. It is written by William Rolfe Inge. Before going to learn about this topic exactly, here we have 4 questions. The questions are looking very simple, but let me answer to these questions, or from your point also we try to answer these questions, because we came to a conclusion on something, because you heard from the story of the king, what makes one happy. If you think in detail, in depth, if you analyze the story, you can able to get an idea what makes one happy. Really think what makes the person happy. Power, politics, wealth, gold, jewelry, stones, land. What makes the person happy? Think. We're going to get an answer to this question by the end of this lecture, because Inge has concentrated on this specific area, what makes one happy. And because hundreds and thousands of years civilization is trying to find an answer to this question, what makes the person, what makes the people happy. Happiness is different. We cannot say that there is a specific reason for one person happiness. I may be happy with the chicken biryani, the other person may be happy with mutton biryani, the other person may not happy with either mutton or chicken, may be happy with some other burger, pizza, or sweets. Like it is changing. The happiness of the person is changing. It depends. But what makes most of the people happy? This is the question. And then if we come to the second question, I can say one thing very clearly. What makes the happy? That happiness is a feel. If we feel that we are happy, if we feel that we are sad, we are sad. that it is just confined to one's heart only. If you feel, you can able to look at it. If you are unable to feel, you don't look at that. That we know that our shadow is following 24/7. Even in darkness also it is following us. In such a way, happiness is also with us every second, every moment, as our shadow is following. Like, if you can able to feel, you can able to see that. If you won't feel, you cannot see it. And that is the secret of happiness. And the second question, do you know anyone who is always happy or sad? I'm not sure about the first one, but I can see that there are several people, hundreds of people, millions of people out there that who are feeling sad every time they lost something. Right. Then what is the reason for their happiness or their sadness? I said sadness. I lasted this, I lasted that, I don't have this one, I don't have that one. There are hundreds of reasons to support ourselves, to look, to exhibit ourselves as sad people. We are showing hundreds and millions of reasons of the people in society. Is it right cause, a right reason to show ourselves as the sad people? But really, if you have that sadness, it will be turning as a hurdle to achieve a lot of things in your future. Right? Be contented. Be happy with the available things in our life. Right? We see most of the people in and around. Try to look at the faces of the people who are in and around to you. If you were granted a wish, what do you ask for? This is $1 million question. The people are asking for wealth, asking for power, asking for a lot of things. Like, if you don't have that, why we get up early in the morning and visiting churches, mosques, and temples? For granting a wish by the God, right? But anyhow, let me get into the bio of William Rolfe Inge. He is William Rolfe Inge. William Rolfe Inge, a British poet. He was born on 6th June 1860 at Crecy, Yorkshire, and he was died on 26th February 1954 at Wallingford, Berkshire, and he is British divine Christian Platonist and Dean of St. Paul Cathedral, London. And this is a short bio of Inge, education of Inge. Inge has studied and even he has worked in the distinguished colleges in Oxford and Cambridge. He studied and even worked for some of the colleges there. William Rolfe Inge is a prolific writer. He has written about Christian philosophy and Christian mysticism also. And his works are known for his views on philosophy and Christian mysticism, because he has a variety of style of writing that is impressive even today also. And there are several people who are the admirers of William Rolfe Inge, and he his ideas remain relevant and valuable for all the generation, though he is in 19th century, and even in 21st century also his ideas are relevant, which are valuable to us even in our modern postmodern society also. And most of his sayings are used as popular quotations. And he has written more than 35 books which are philosophical and dealing with the Christian mysticism. And he is well known for his Platonism and Neoplatonic philosophy and Christian mysticism. When we are coming to this present essay, Happy People, let me share with you the gist of the essay. This is the gist of the essay. In the essay Happy People, the writer William Ralph Inge explores the question of what makes people happy and who are considered to be happy people. But I said already, what makes the people happy? What are the different reasons for happiness of the people? Throughout the essay, he is trying to probe, trying to explore on the issues that what are the reasons for sadness of the people, in trying to give the solutions for those and remedies to keep ourselves happy, and what are the different reasons for happy people. And he's trying to explore these issues throughout the essay. In the book of Proverbs written by King Solomon, he writes that each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can fully share its joy. When I read from Inge's essay, that I'm ready to share with you. I'm glad to share with you feeling that in this world people are very close physically, but emotionally people are far off from each other. There are no bridges in the world to join two people. That is the biggest barrier. People are physically very close, but emotionally people are very far each other. That strikes when I read this proverb of King Solomon. See, each heart knows its own bitterness. Every heart knows its bitterness, and no one else can fully share its joy. When we are very sad, we are trying to share with people, but that heart knows the bitterness of that, only knows it, but most of the people, no one else can fully share its joy. And even we are unable to share the joy of the hearts. See, feelings can be experienced, that we cannot express it. My happiness can be shared, but other person who is listening, who is watching, may not be experienced it, right? And Robert Brewing thanks God that the meanest of his creatures has two soul sides, one to face with word with, and one to show a woman when he loves her. Robert Browning Brewing, such a great writer of monologues, dramatic monologues he has written. And according to him, he thanked God for the meanest of his creature. That he's saying that two souls sides human has. That is, one face to the world, the other one is with his beloved one, women whom he loves. It is very rare of someone to completely share one's feelings. In this world, there are very few people who are ready to share their real feelings. They are not ready to share their real feelings, what they have in their mind. But anyhow, here, according to Inge, for most people, happiness is their being's end and aim. According to Inge, for most people, happiness is their beings and end, end and aim. But the people, happiness could not be confined to one. That there are several reasons for the happiness of the people, and here it is not an end and it is not a main one. The author feels that he can easily separate the years when he was happy from the years he was not, but immediately states that one is never either so happy or so miserable as one measures to be. Like here, the author further saying that throughout the life we cannot find all the days are the happy days and all the days are sad days. Like it is a combination of sadness and happiness that we can see. 15 days with moon and 15 days without moon. That it is. And even we have day and night. Day is the light and night is the darkness. In our life, like equally or sometimes maybe more number of happy days or more number of sad days we can find in the life, that none of the person's life is with full of happiness and full of sadness. Life is a mixture of all these happiness and sad, but he struggle but the struggle is the actual price. Whether you are happy, whether you are sad, you need to struggle. You need to struggle to come out of the sad days and look for the happiest days in the life. He opines that young people are happy as they have to go through several conflicts. According to Inge, the young people are the happy people. But that you may agree or may not agree with this one, but it is only his assertion, his belief only. Robert Browning and many old people believe that old age is the best age in one's life. Brewing, according to Brewing, aged people are the happiest people because they have seen everything in their life. Then that's the reason it made them happy. And he feels that marriage too is probably the happiest state when the partners are well matched. Brewing further is further saying that married people are the happiest people because after marriage they have everything in their life. But it may not, it is up to Robert Brewing only. It is not generalized in everybody's life. Somebody may happy before to marriage, somebody are happy, but after marriage somebody are happy. But it is not exactly a point to consider, but it may be a reason, may be a cause for happiness he feels that marriage too is probably the happiest state when partners are well matched. Here, if the partnership is good, they are happy. If the partnership is not good, they are not happy. Again, sadness is cropping into their life after marriage. If they are happy before to marriage or with marriage, but it may crop into their life. He feels that the happiest people are those who don't have any particular reason to be happy. And again, I just say that the same thing. There are no reasons for happiness in anybody's life. There are no particular reasons. There are no particular causes to make a person happy. The writer feels that the happiest man in England may probably a mad man, although no one would want to trade places with such a person. And not even in England, throughout the world, if you wanted to say that, uh, the happiest person in the world is the madman. As I said, the story of a king, the happiest person in the world is that madman. That mad beggar is the happiest person, but unfortunately, he do not possess a shirt to wear throughout his lifetime. And here, let me continue. The biographies of a great men reveal that they were subject to frequent and severe fits of depression. If we read the biographies, lives of great people, and in their life, they have seen different, ages where they sometime they are happy, but the end of their life is miserable. It is revealing the biographies of great people. And the medieval monks placed among the seven deadly sins, one which they called Acadia. That seven deadly sins are there. Like even in Hindu mythology, that we can see Kama, Krodha, Mada, Matsarya, or something like that. Seven deadly sins are there. That is written in Acadia. Acadia, which is a compound of dejection, sloth, irritability. Acadia is that one should call that seven deadly sins, and that is a compound of dejection, sloth, and irritability. Religion is a great source of happiness, although it is prone to more serious misery than any other. So, most of the time, a lot of people are getting happiness through religion. So, but some other people, it may not be the source to give happiness, but throughout the world, most of the people are getting happiness through religion. Inge is of the opinion that running away from life ought not to make people happy, and prefers unworldliness based on knowledge of the world as a better option. If we feel that we are in miseries, we could not run out of those miseries. That we cannot avoid miseries from our life. That's the part of the life. We need to experience it. We need to bear it. That will be giving us the strength. It will strengthen our moral fiber to become a great person, to be a great person, to emerge ourselves as the great people. It will be helping us. He urges readers to read the book, the Sadhu, which is centered on the life of Sadhu Sundar Singh, who in spite of his tra- travails and persecution, still was as happy as most other Christ like saints. Sadhu Sundar Singh is the happiest person. Not we may know that most of the monks, saints are the happiest people in this world, but here Sadhu Sundar Singh is the happiest person, though he is not a religious person exactly, but he is the happiest person. What made him happy? Let me move on to the last part of it. The author would like to wish for three gifts from the fairy godmother. The first would be wisdom, and the second, domestic happiness, and the third for approval of his fellow men. So here, the author is wishing for three things in the life. That is the first one that every person should possess in his life is wisdom. Without wisdom, like there is no difference between a person who is a mad and a person without wisdom is nothing but mad. Like mad. That to come out of that, sometimes people who are in angry can be behave like a mad person. Like lasting wisdom is nothing but changing ourselves as a madman, and it changed as like a beast. So that's the reason we could not last the wisdom. The second, domestic happiness. That domestic happiness can make most of the people happy, like family life, a wife, and children, relatives. A lot of these things can make us happy. And the third one, approval of his fellow man. That a person who is a family person could be identified as a person in society that can make the person more happy. And here he disagrees with the views of Napoleon Bonaparte, who felt that a hard heart is a recipe for happiness, and feels that a life without affection and sympathy could only give a negative kind of happiness. Like here, Inge is completely opposite to the feelings of Napoleon Bonaparte, because such type of happiness will be leading to a negative happiness, not a positive one. The positive one is every time outgoing. The negative one is trying to take inside. So it should be that the happiness could be outgoing, could able to motivate the person, could encourage the other person who is with us, but could not distress the person who is with us. Inge feels that people live in evil times, and public affairs are taken more tragically than how they were taken in the 18th century. And here he has given a lot of example how the people are living in society for centuries together. And he gives an example of Dr. Johnson, who lived through the academic American War, and illustrated Johnson's state on how well he dealt with public calamities through a dialogue he had with Boswell, who on the other hand was too perturbed by the mysteriousness of those times. This is one example that what makes the person happy. But The person who wanted to look into the sadness of many people may not be feeling happy, but that happiness in his own life is not that. The person who has lifetime struggles may not be the causes of sadness in the person. Like leading a life and living with happiness is completely different. He finally seems to reiterate the fact that trusting in God's ability to handle everything happening around us, good or bad, is the secret of our peace and happiness. He is agreeing with one thing: whether you have few things, whether you may not have anything, that if we are happy with peace, that is good enough to us. That fills our life with happiness. Like be contented, be happy. Thank you.